All right, so we're going to start our note today on simple versus compound interest. So we'll start with a simple interest investigation. Mr. Pierce goes to the bank with $1,000 to invest for 5 years. This bank offers to pay him 5% simple interest for each year he invests his money with them. This means that they will pay 5% on the original amount invested for each year for the length of the investment. So it's important to note that simple interest is only ever paying the 5% on the original amount. So we're going to use this table below to help us calculate and kind of see what's happening over those 5 years. So we can see in the first year, he starts by putting $1,000 in, and the interest is always going to be based on that initial amount he put in. So we know that we're going to take 1,000 and multiply it by our interest rate as a decimal. So we've changed that 5% to a decimal, and that gives us $50. So the interest he earns each year will be $50. So to get the ending balance at the end of the first year, we take a starting balance of 1,000 and we add the 50. So then we end with $1,050. So now that year 2, we're starting with $1,050. So we're going to calculate our interest now for year 2. But again, it's always just going to be based on whatever he put in that first year. So our interest is based on 5% of $1,000. So we know from above already, that's been calculated for us, that's $50. So now to get our ending balance, we take the starting balance from the beginning of that year, which is $1,050, and then we add on this interest that he earned. So we've got 1,100, a dollar sign here. So now we know this year we're starting with 1,100. And this will always be 1,000 because that's what he put in at the beginning. So to find our calculation, we're going to do 1,000 times 0.05, which we know will give us that $50 again. And then we add that $50 to what we had at the beginning of this year. And when we do that, we get 1,150. Now, year 4, we're starting with 1,150. Interest is calculated on that same initial amount of 1,000. And our calculation is the exact same, 0.05, which will give us back that $50 of interest. So when we add the interest earned after this year, we end up with 1,200. It means in our final year, we're starting out with 1,200. And we're going to add our interest to that. 1,000 times 0.05, which is 50. So we'll end with 1,250. So at the end of his 5 years, this is what he has. Now, if we wanted to check, we have our formula from yesterday, and we know that I, interest, equals PRT. So if we wanted, we could calculate what that is and make sure that we get the same answer. So the initial amount he puts in is 1,000. That's being multiplied to our rate, which we know is 0.05. And he did this for 5 years. And when you calculate all of this, you'll get that it was $250 of interest. And then you may recall that to figure out our total amount, we just need to add the principal amount, plus whatever we earned in interest. So we know the initial amount was 1,000 that he put in. Oops. And that we're adding that $250 of interest. And when we do that, we get the same answer, 1,250. So we can see that we did it right. This way it's just using a table of values and kind of showing us what's happening each year and how we get this total amount, just to kind of make sense of what we've learned yesterday.